Hello everyone. Now we will move on to the next topic in the analysis of heat transfer, which is electrical analogy of heat transfer. Firstly, we will understand what is the meaning of this word analogy. When we say analogy, we are referring to the similarity between two objects. In this case, we are referring to similarity between electrical energy flow and energy flow during heat transfer. Why this analogy is important? Because it helps us to solve problems related to heat transfer in a very simple way and in a very less steps. So now we will understand why this is necessary. We have derived formula for Fourier's law of heat conduction in case of plane wall, in case of hollow cylinder, and in case of hollow sphere. But there might be situations in which there will be combined conduction and convection. There might be combined conduction, convection, and radiation. So at that point of time, simple analytical formula does not only help us. We have to decide how to solve the problem in the most simplified way. So that's why we refer to this electrical analogy. Let us first understand how exactly to proceed with this. This is our basic electrical circuit. This is the first junction, this is the electrical resistance, and this is the second junction. So, as we know, let us say this is the voltage V1 at the initial junction and this is voltage V2 at the final junction. This is our electric resistance R electrical. Now, because of this entire architecture, current I flows through the system. We can convert this physics into mathematics using a very powerful statement known as Ohm's law. It tells us that if you want that electric current to flow, you need to have some potential difference. So it gives us V is equal to IR. So ultimately, in this case, the electric current flows. So let us put it on one side only. So that gives us, it will be equal to V upon R. So if we understand this, we see that it is not only V which is responsible for the flow of electric current. This is actually delta V. There has to be only potential is not sufficient, there has to be potential difference. Only with that potential difference the current can flow, and this flow of current is opposed by this electric resistance R electrical. So now we will understand how it is very similar to the heat flow. When we let us say we are understanding conduction heat transfer through the plane wall. So how do we write it? It is K A T1 minus T2 upon L. Now what we observe over here, this T1 minus T2 is very similar to the potential difference. In electrical circuit it was potential difference, in thermal circuit it is temperature difference which is responsible for heat flow. Let us reorganize this equation keeping only temperature difference on the top and all the remaining terms at the bottom. So ultimately it gives us L upon Ke. So we can write it in a short form. This is the temperature difference and this is L upon Ka. So what we observe over here, when we correlate this equation with heat transfer in the wall, our observation tells us that if delta T is more, heat transfer rate will be more. But this quantity at the denominator is actually opposing the rate of heat transfer. It is very similar to this electric current flow. The electric current will be higher if potential difference will be higher, but then this flow is being opposed by this electrical resistance. So just like that we can say this temperature difference is responsible for heat flow and it is being opposed by this thermal resistance. Previously it was electrical resistance, now it will be thermal resistance. So we can write heat transfer through the wall is equal to delta T upon R TH. TH indicates that it is a thermal resistance. Now this is the particular case of conduction and it is quantified as L by Ka. So I will write it as delta T upon R conduction. It means if we want the formula for R conduction, it is equal to L upon Ka. Now let us revise what we have just learned. On the basis of this, we can also draw a thermal circuit. Like there will be first junction, there will be resistance, and there will be second junction. There was potential difference, now there will be temperature difference. This will be T1, this will be T2. There was electrical resistance, there will be this thermal resistance. And in this case, the electric current was flowing. In this case, heat will flow through the system, through that particular thermal circuit. Now, let us recapitulate, let us revise what we have learned until now. In case of electrical circuit, delta V is responsible for current flow. It is the potential available for the flow of energy. Everywhere we are talking about potential only. And in case of thermal circuit, this is represented by delta T. In this case, in the case of electrical system, R, electrical was opposing the flow of energy, and in case of thermal circuit, thermal resistance is opposing the flow of energy or heat. In this case, electrical circuit, current I was flowing, which is very similar to the heat which is flowing in the thermal circuit. Because of these similarities, we can say that the heat transfer circuit is very similar to electric circuit, and that's why we call this phenomena as electrical analogy of heat transfer. Now we have applied this phenomena to Fourier's law of conduction in case of plane wall. We can also apply this equation to Newton's law of cooling. Newton's law of cooling tells us that heat transfer by convection is equal to HA into Ts minus T infinity. Now we can rearrange this equation so that it will appear similar to the equation for electric resistance and potential difference and electric current. So what do we get? This is the delta T responsible, or it is the potential for heat transfer. So we can write Ts minus T infinity upon 1 upon HA, or we can call it as delta T, which is responsible for convection, upon thermal resistance. But then previously this thermal resistance was of the conduction type. Now this is thermal resistance of convection type. So we can say that the convection thermal resistance is 1 upon HA. These are two very important formulae that we need to remember. Also one more thing, this conduction resistance L by Ka, it is for plane wall. For cylinder and for sphere, the formula will change. So until now we have developed the understanding that conduction resistance will be L by Ka, convection resistance will be 1 upon HA. When we switch to the geometry of hollow cylinder and hollow sphere, we will reorganize their analytical equations so that we get their thermal resistances. Like for hollow cylinder, we have derived the equation 2 pi Lk T1 minus T2. I will write it directly as delta T upon ln of R2 by R1. Let us reorganize this equation so that only delta T, which is potential, is at the top. This is what we are doing all along the way. Only delta T at the top, everything else at the bottom. So that gives us ln of R2 by R1 upon 2 pi Lk. So this is the entire denominator. Remember, numerator helps the heat to flow, while denominator opposes the rate of heat transfer. So now we can quantify the resistance for conduction heat transfer, but now it is being offered only by cylinder. So this will be R cylinder, it will be equal to ln of R2 by R1 upon 2 pi Lk. This will be R cylinder. With the same methodology, we can find out the conduction resistance in case of hollow sphere. So let us see how to do that. We will simply reorganize the terms so that only temperature difference is at the numerator and everything else is at the denominator. We already know the Q for sphere as 4 pi K R1 R2. I will write down temperature difference simply as delta T upon R2 minus R1. Only delta T at the numerator, everything else at the denominator. So that gives us delta T divided by R2 minus R1 upon 4 pi K R1 R2. So, we see here that in case of conduction heat transfer for sphere, delta T helps the heat transfer, while this entire quantity at the denominator opposes the heat transfer. So, this becomes R for sphere. The thermal resistance presented by the sphere for conduction heat transfer will be R2 minus R1 upon 4 pi K R1 R2. So it means that if you already know the analytical formula which we have obtained from previous derivations, then we can simply write down this equation. We have to remember it because when we are solving the problems, we have to immediately apply this formulae depending on the mechanism of heat transfer as well as the geometry which is available for heat transfer. For example, if it is only conduction, for a plane wall we will apply L by Ka, and if it is cylinder we will apply ln of R2 by R1 upon 2 pi Lk. If it is a hollow sphere undergoing conduction, then it will be R2 minus R1 upon 4 pi K R1 R2. Remember, the convection heat transfer that we have written, the convection resistance that we have written is 1 upon HA. In this case, H is the heat transfer coefficient, A is the area which is exposed to the convection. This area will again depend on the geometry. If it is plane wall, this area will remain constant. If it is a cylinder, then it will be 2 pi RL. When the R will change, this area will also change. If it is a sphere, then it will be 4 pi R square. When the R will change, the area will also change. So, we have to select the proper parameters depending on geometry. So, now I am writing all the formula down here so that you can differentiate between them and you can appreciate the replacement of various parameters depending on that particular situation and depending on that particular mode of heat transfer. Without that, it will be difficult to obtain the final answer. Now, this similarity approach or this analogy approach helps us to reduce down the equations and solve them in a very compact form so that we can arrive at a solution in a very fast manner. Thank you.